Hello and welcome all. We are tackling yet another PicoCTF challenge. Let's try to go for like one of these 200s. Let's do client side again. Let's see what this is about. Can you break into the super secure portal? Here's a link. Or we can go to another link and okay, look at this. New and improved login. Enter valid credentials to proceed. And if we put something in here, verify incorrect password. All right, let's see what we can do. First, I'm going to open up the dev tools. And let's see if we can look at some of the sources or yeah, here are the elements here. Let's see, we have a script tag. Oh boy. All right, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to pull this up in my IDE. All right, so here we are. We have a bunch of stuff going on here. And it looks like we have a function called verify, and I believe, let me see. I do believe that this button here is, yep, on click, it executes verify. So that's how that works. All right, so, it looks like we have a lot of stuff here and a lot of weird variable names. So let's see how this works. I think for the most part, oh man, this is just, a lot of stuff is obfuscated. And so we're going to rename some of this stuff. Say rename symbol, and we're going to call this first, just so we can kind of like see what's going on here. And it looks like there's a split going on. Okay, so we have a split here. I believe this 0x4 is some kind of different way of describing numbers. So let me just go into my... All right, cool. So here I am in Node, and if I do 0x4, that just means 4. So if I do 0x9, that's 9. What about if I do 12? That's 18, because this is not the same thing. So this is hexadecimal then. That's what that means. Because if I wanted a, that'd be like 10, right? Okay. So this is just hexadecimal. So all of these little numbers here are just other ways of writing the same darn thing. So this is the same thing as saying 4. And this is the same thing as saying 0. So, right. So I'm just going to like go through this and rewrite all these numbers. Okay, so that's something. Looks like we have some weird stuff going on here. This is the function called first. Okay, so let's split this out here. So the function called first takes two arguments. This this one here and this one here, which have been again like obfuscated. In fact, this second argument doesn't get used at all, which is kind of weird. So it doesn't matter. So whenever we see the word first and it has a second argument, that second argument never gets used. I currently don't see a second argument, so it looks like it's a string. So this is like some input string. So I'm going to rename this input string. And then this is just completely useless, so we don't actually like use it or need it, so it doesn't matter. It's -0. I wonder what that means. So if you take something like this string and you -0 on it, what does that do? Okay, what if I make this a 2? Okay, so this is like another way of converting the string into a number. So this is just, let me see. Convert string to number. Okay, so this is going to be some... Oh, it's just like reassigning it. So this is going to be not really an input string at this point. This will be a number. We have an input number, and then you have this value. Let's see, let's rename that to some kind of, because this is something indexable, because we're calling the index of that number, which is being returned here. So we don't actually need this. We could just say return this, and we can kill that. Okay, so we're returning whatever this indexable thing is, which apparently is up here. Ah, okay. So it looks like it's grabbing from this list based on the index, one thing at a time. Okay. And then here we have a self-executing function. It's kind of a weird thing in JavaScript where you can declare. So this is the function declaration is being defined and then immediately executed with these inputs. So we have the indexable list here. If I could just call that list instead. Then we're adding this value, which is, let's see, 0x1b3, 433, or 35. So this is 435, same thing. And oh, so weird. And then now we have a other function being defined here. We're adding this input. This first thing is the list, so I can kind of like rename this to like the input list. Then we have, this is the second input, this is the number, so I'm gonna say input. Okay, because that's what this would be. All right, so we have the input number plus plus. I forget what that plus plus does because the order matters here. So if we have a variable called x equals 1, we do plus plus x. X is now 2, but doing the plus plus x increments the number first and then returns that value of 2. So this is incrementing the number, input number, by 1. So this is the same thing as, 1 plus that. That's the same thing. And this function is being called with this incremented input number. I'm just going to redefine that. Input number plus 1. Okay. And then it says while minus minus. Okay, so subtracting here. And then we're doing input list with the word push. Okay, that's a little weird because this list, how do you index on a list? With defined. Okay, so we have the word list, which is that thing. I do list with the word push. That's the push function. That's literally like saying list.push. I didn't know you could do that. That's kind of weird. Okay, so you could index the function methods that are on the list object. That's kind of weird, but okay. Okay, so basically this is doing push. So again, I can just kind of rewrite this to dot push and pushing input list shift. Oh dear God. Okay, so again, the list calls shift. That's the function list dot shift, which is popping that pops the list. So again, I'm going to rewrite this. Let's see. Dot shift. So this is basically putting first element to the end of the list. It's doing that input number plus 1 times. Okay. Okay, so this self-executing function, Okay, so at the end of this execution, we will have a list that is essentially rearranged. And this rearranged list is being used for the verify function. So we need to see what this list looks like after it's been kind of like reworked and reshuffled. We can do that actually in the terminal here. So let me do that. I'm going to take the list again. List as it is. Okay, so that's our list right there. And now we're going to execute this self-executing function here. Copy that. I press enter. It says undefined, but the list has been rearranged. Aha. So now we have this reshuffled thing, and this is the actual value. So this is how the list looks afterwards when we're actually using it for verify. Okay. So let me now we just need to figure out what each of these steps is and kind of checking it. Looks confusing, but I don't think it's so bad. Document. That's the document object in the browser. That's annoying. And It's calling first. Oh, remember what we do first? We're just taking the number form of that. So this is just 0, and it's taking the first element. So the first element is get element by. This is the same thing as saying document dot get element by ID. And then it's calling pass. Oh, so it's getting the pass element? Okay, so we're in the browser here. So, it's looking for the input with the ID pass. Okay, so that's what it's looking for. So it's grabbing that essentially. Okay, so it's grabbing the password and it's getting the, I want to stop calling this first. Let's say to num. That's what it's doing. It's converting it to number. So it's grabbing the first element. It's grabbing the 1, which is the password. So this is basically grabbing the input, the password input. What is check pass here? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say, what is this thing? Because I want to see what it is here. Okay, so I'm in the browser. Let's put console log. Let's paste. I can't paste code that you didn't understand. Please type allow pasting below. Oh, that's weird. Okay, allow pasting. Currently it's undefined. Maybe I got that wrong. Okay, let me do this. Okay, we did that. Okay. Let me undo this real quick. To number x1. Oh, it's returning the list. It's not to num. It's grabbing. Okay, this is not to num. I shouldn't call it that. It should be more like rename. From list. So it's grabbing the first element from the list, which in this case is value. Oh, okay. So this is like saying value. Okay, so when you do the pass dot value, we're actually getting the value from the text, like with actual value. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so check pass is the password string. Okay, and then we're indexing it, and we're grabbing the number 2, which is this substring. Okay, so we're getting this substring from it. So every time I see this is the same thing as saying substring. Let me grab all those and just say dot substring, because that's the same thing. Okay, see here. So from list, number 3 is 0, 1, 2, 3. PicoCTF. This is that. This is where we're okay. Now we're talking here. That's the string of that. Okay, cool. From list number 4. Let me do a little when we're working. So this is 0, 1. Those are the indexes. Okay, so index 4 is not this, which is very clever. Okay, not this, but it is this. We now have essentially a similar setup to the one that I've seen before, which is that we just kind of go through each of the splits. So it'll check the password string, check pass, and I'll check the substring between 0 and split times 2, which is actually 8. So this is the same thing as saying 8. So I guess we're piecing it together. So between 0 and 8, that's the password. So I'm going to kind of reconstruct the password. But from 0 to 9, you can see there's a little overlap of the n. So that's kind of lets you know this is the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to put that n here. Okay. And then we go from 8 to 16, which is not this, but we have the n already, so we don't need to count twice. It, I think, says not this again. PicoCTF, not this again. That password verified. So let's copy this and see if that works. Pass it in here. Verify. Password verified. Okay, so let's go back here. Ooh, that is blinding my eyes. Okay. Paste, submit. We did it. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was a lot of work because it was just a lot of obfuscated code. But for the most part, as long as you can rename some of these really weird variables and kind of go through it, it didn't seem too bad. All right, folks, if this is the kind of content you enjoy, please make sure to like, subscribe, do all the good things, and I will catch you next time. Take care.